Monkey.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken, and welcome back to another video. Seris has gotten a rework recently to her most popular talent, Mortal Reach, where it now allows you to use Restore Soul during shadow travel, and shadow travel lasts 1 second longer. This talent encourages you to build heavily for the shadow travel, which is something we haven't necessarily seen before on Seris, at least a talent incentivizing you to use this ability. So it's a pretty interesting concept for a talent, and today I want to do a bit of experimentation with it, especially regarding some builds. So before this update, I was working on a Seris guide, which was meant to kind of show new players not just how to play Seris, but also introduce them to the healing category as a whole, give them the thought process behind, anti-healing and stuff like that. Now that Mortal Reach has been reworked, that's going to go on the back burner for a very long time, because, oh boy, we got to figure out how to play Seris again. But the builds I had concocted before that, these were made with the help of a whole slew of Seris mains, and they used a few cards that, generally are pretty good, right? We have Sorceress in here, one of her best cards, we have Umbral Gate, we have Veil, we have these two really good filler cards. You could, if you wanted to really min-max everything and try and maximize your damage output as well as your healing output and ult output, go for something like this. Or you could go for something a bit more forgiving, like this Training Wheels build, which has Veil 5, Umbral Gate, and Revenant to help you stay alive. But this new talent allows you to do something very cheeky with a totally different set of cards, and it's all thanks to the fact that you have 1 second of extra duration on shadow travel, and the fact that you can use Restore Soul while in shadow travel. So let me take you through the thought process of these builds. I started off with this build, which is just a pure test build to see how crazy I can get the uptime on shadow travel. We have Duskwalker and Fade to Black for maximum cooldown reduction, Veil for a bit of cast time reduction, and then Spirit Leech and Blood Pact, because these are just two really good fillers. Really, really good fillers. So this is the build, and yeah, it works pretty well for giving us maximum uptime on the shadow travel. We can go in shadow travel and use 2 Restore Souls while in shadow travel, which is pretty nice. And then we use Restore Soul again, wait for that to end, and then we go back into shadow travel. And this is without Chronos, mind you. Look at my bottom right. No Chronos. So yeah, this is pretty good. And yeah, we can do this. I totally forgot to use Restore Soul, but we can do this again, and then Restore Soul again, and then, yeah, 1 Restore Soul out of shadow travel, and then we're back in shadow travel. So we basically spend, the duration of 2 heals in shadow travel, and we spend the duration of 1 heal outside of shadow travel, which means we have about 66% uptime on the shadow travel, which is absolutely absurd. Without Chronos, mind you. You don't even need Chronos with this build. You can just run this build raw, no Chronos. You can go for something like Nimble or Haven. And, I mean, the uptime is basically exactly the same with Chronos. Let me show you. Let me buy Chronos 3. 1, 2, 3. And then let's quickly reset our shadow travel. Go into shadow travel. We do 1. And then we do 2. And then we do 3. And we can cancel a little bit early and then go back into our shadow travel. So it's basically the same game loop. You don't necessarily need to buy Chronos with this build. Funnily enough, you already have max shadows travel spam just with your cards. But yeah, this is huge. I mean, this is much more shadow travel uptime than Seris has ever had, and that's because the card Fade to Black procs while you're in shadow travel. So you get 1 proc while you're in shadow travel, and then you get 1 proc outside of shadow travel like this, and then bam, you're back in shadow travel. It's insane. But we can go and try and get a bit more utility out of this build. So the next thing I tested was, can I use this with the speed card, Dark Whisper? I figure since I'm barely spending any time shooting with this build, it would actually be a little bit better to go for Dark Whisper than Umbral Gate, even though I know Umbral Gate generally has better uptime. With this, we're trying to max out the time we're in shadow travel, and we can't shoot while we're in shadow travel. So I figured Dark Whisper would be a little bit better. So we dropped the cooldown card entirely. We went for Dark Whisper, Fade to Black, Veil, same stuff basically. And, well, it doesn't work quite as well. We can go into shadow travel, and we are lightning fast, right? And we can do our 2 Restore Souls, and then we can exit shadow travel, and we do have another Restore Soul, but this is with Chronos 3. So, yeah, I mean, with Chronos 3, we can basically get the same uptime, which is pretty nice. Roughly the same uptime, but then, oh, there we run into a hitch where we actually have to wait a little bit longer to get into shadow travel, so it's not quite perfect, right? And without Chronos, yeah, it's going to be a lot tougher to actually maintain this uptime. Let me reset the shooting range real quick so I can show you what that looks like. So yeah, without Chronos, we can go into shadow travel, right-click, and then right-click again, And then we leave Shadow Travel. That's a 12-second cooldown. Proc Fade to Black, but that's still... that's a very long cooldown. That's not quite good enough for our means. But maybe we can use a hybrid, right? A mix of cooldown reduction cards and movement speed cards. The speed won't be quite as potent, but we will try to get a mix of both. So that led me to this third loadout, where we have Fade to Black at level 5, Duskwalker and Dark Wisp are both at level 3. We've dropped the ammo regen card on right-click, because every time you enter Shadow Travel, you get your ammo back, so that's actually kind of a redundant card. We still have Blood Pact, and then we still have Veil at level 3. And with this build, we can go in Shadow Travel, do 1, do 2, bada bing, bada boom, and then we can do 3. And by the time that ends, without Chronos, I mean, yeah, it's not perfect uptime, but it's still really good uptime. And yeah, we can just cycle this. 1, 2, use it again. And yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. We can kind of get it closer to about 50% uptime on the Shadow Travel, which still isn't bad at all. And you could buy Chronos if you wanted. So the point is, you do have a little bit of options when it comes to your builds, right? If you want a little bit more utility on the Shadow Travel, then you could go for the speed card at the cost of a little bit of cooldown reduction. Or if you wanted just maximum cooldown reduction on the Shadow Travel without needing to buy Chronos, allowing you to opt into other items, then you could totally do that too. For example, you could maybe go for this loadout right here, and then just buy Nimble and get basically the same effect as the speed card at level 3. And then you have basically the maximum uptime on Shadow Travel, and you get to have a little bit of your movement speed too, but that of course comes at the cost of the item. Or, you know, you could always just go the utility build, sacrifice a little bit of uptime, and then get double the movement speed, right? Then you have really good uptime, you have Nimble 3, stacking with your movement speed card, and you can get about 40% movement speed that way. So you do have options, but the point is, you can get really, really good uptime on Shadow Travel now. This is a new form of getting some crazy survivability with Seris while still giving value for your team that simply wasn't there before. Before, you got no value in Shadow Travel whatsoever, so you wanted to maximize your ability to get value while you were outside of Shadow Travel, right? And to do that, you had to get survivability through, you know, using the movement speed card, using the health card, stuff like that, so that way you could stay alive, do more damage, and do more healing while you're outside of Shadow Travel. Now, you can stay inside of Shadow Travel, heal your teammates. Yeah, you won't be doing damage or stunning people while you're inside of Shadow Travel, so it's not perfect. But it is something, and if you want to keep your team alive while being immortal yourself, this is certainly a very enticing and interesting option. So today, finally now, with an intro that is almost 10 minutes long, oh boy, we will get into a match and actually try this out, because this is a very, very interesting change, and I want to just test this build and see how it feels in a real game to effectively be almost immortal. Is it as good as it actually seems? Let's find out. You know, I was looking at this indicator on the top of the screen that says we have no damage, and I was like, wait a minute, we have Seris, Kasumi, Terminus, Eevee, I mean, we have a damage. No, we don't. Kasumi's a flank now. That's gonna take some getting used to. It still feels weird seeing people play Kasumi like somewhat regularly now, and also having to actually kind of respect her as a real character. Such a weird feeling, man. But anyways, here we go. We are on Bazaar. We do have Grok joining us. I'm assuming this guy is going to play damage. I tried to lock in Seris before he locked in Grover, and then he switched to Grok, so we'll just hope that works out for me. But the point is, we're going to try to spend as much time in this match in Shadow Travel as possible. And I think that's definitely going to be a good thing for me, because they have some very scary damage champions. They have Androxus, Strix, and Shaolin. That's spooky. So we're going to do Mortal Reach, and I'm just going to go with the generic vanilla test build that I started with, which has Duskwalker and Fade to Black at level 5, so we get maximum cooldown reduction without Chronos. And because I don't need Chronos to get maximum cooldown reduction on the Shadow Travel, and Chronos barely affects my right-click at all, I'm not actually going to buy Chronos. I'm going to go for some smarter items, both of those being Morale Boost and Nimble. Although we could actually go for a bit of Haven as well if we wanted to, or possibly even Illuminate, because they have Strix and Shaolin who might be flanking me. But I think for this, I'll just go for Morale Boost and Nimble. Because yeah, Chronos is actually not, like, super crazy effective on Seris compared to other supports. If you look at her right-click cooldown, it's only 1.5 seconds. It's barely anything. And because Chronos is percent-based, it has almost no effect on the right-click. It gives it, I believe, like 0.5 seconds of cooldown reduction or something like that, which, you know, is still nice, right? I'm not going to say it's bad, necessarily, but, you know, that's 1,800 credits for that half a second of cooldown reduction. And, you know, historically, you try not to spend time in shadow travel unless you have to. I mean, you don't really need, like, crazy cooldown reduction on that ability. It's just not something that you've historically actually needed to buy with Seris, and most of the high elo... Well, high elo. It's hard to say Seris and high elo in the same breath, okay? But most of the Seris mains, most of the people who spend a lot of time playing Seris and actually, like, you know, have a very good understanding of the character have told me that, yeah, Chronos is kind of a scam. So, I haven't been buying it recently when I play Seris, and it has actually worked out for me very wonderfully, picking up morale boost instead. You know, I would use the morale boost with the card that gives her 35% increase ult charge, and it would just be insane levels of ultimate charge. And of course, the ultimate is really good, so, you know, that does tend to work out decently well. Problem is, my entire team is dead, which means I have nobody to proc Fade to Black on, which means I'm in danger of dying to this guy, especially because all the stacks just inconveniently expired for me there. So we'll spend time in Shadow Travel here. We'll proc that on Eevee. She's going to kill Andro for me, and we can go back into Shadow Travel already. That is crazy. But yeah, let me go ahead and throw that on you. And then we'll just continue to heal out here. Do no damage to Barrack, and then I'm just going to go back in Shadow Travel. Poor Terminus is dead. We'll just kind of prance around on the point here and try and heal out for another Shadow Travel. Here we go, going in. I can heal you. We are just on the point right now. We're being extra sneaky. I'll try and give a heal out to you, but I'm just instantly dead. Yeah, there's only so much selling I can do on the point there. I feel bad for our Eevee, man. That comp is brutal for her. Strix can one-shot her. Shaolin is a hard counter to Eevee, and Androxus is also a really good counter to Eevee in the flank class. So, yeah, that's really rough. We might not win this game. I don't know. But I will just keep healing. It feels so weird for me just trying to spend this much time in Shadow Travel, though. Like, genuinely, I kind of don't like it. I need to shoot. I like playing supports that shoot a lot. I like playing Maldamba and Grok and Pip. You know, supports that try and do damage and heal simultaneously. And with Seris, you know, you can kind of do that with, like, the Soul Collector playstyle, where, like, you can do a bit of damage and then do a bit... 1400 reversal! Well, you can kind of do that where you know, heal a little bit, then shoot a little bit, heal a little bit. I was low-key kind of having fun playing around with a little bit of that, you know, before this rework, when I was trying to get footage for the guide. So yeah, I'm not, like, personally a super huge fan of this playstyle, but at the same time, I'm not going to deny that it is pretty nice just being immortal for 60% of the match, you know? That is pretty cool. Oh boy, I accidentally canceled the right click. What am I doing? Let's just go back in Shadow Travel here and keep on healing. There you go, team. I got you. Look at me. There we go. And then just proc one more heal. And we're back into Shadow Travel. We can go heal Eevee. There we go. And then we can heal Terminus. Please. There we go. Yeah, 2 heals in, 1 heal out. That is not bad at all. Of course, like, consider the fact, though, right? I'm doing this. And, like, yeah, I'm healing my team. But I'm unnecessarily in Shadow Travel, right? Nobody was really shooting at me that entire time. Or, like, vaguely in the direction of my team, right? I was not going to be taking collateral from the bullets they were sending there. And in that time, instead of shooting the enemies, you know, spamming some shots out, potentially hitting somebody and building up stacks, and building ult charge, I was, doing nothing except healing. I feel like you could get more value with Seris by just not doing that. And by building for, you know, ult charge instead. Building for health instead so you can shoot more, right? I'm just gonna put this out. Oh, you shielded it. Alright. Well, you know what? That's why you bought morale boost. But yeah, that's kind of my thought process, right? I guess, you know, I kind of need the enemy team to be a bit more aggressive to me for us to really start to see the value of being in Shadow Travel so frequently. But also, like, one of the convenient things about Seris has always been that you can stay really far back, right? Like, if you're playing just pure, raw, like, healer Seris, you can stay all the way back here. You have excellent range and auto-aim, so you can very conveniently sit in the back and just heal your team from there, meaning you're out of harm's way. And again, like, if you're out of harm's way like that, then what's the point of being in Shadow Travel 60% of the time? Not spamming out orbs, right? Her orbs are big and pierce through targets for a reason. They're meant to be spammed at choke points and spammed at objectives to get some collateral damage so you can build ult charge. And, you know, if you are lucky and hit 4 stacks on somebody, you can stun them, and that helps your team out. So, the point I'm trying to get across is maybe this isn't as effective as as we might think, not because it's bad for survivability. It's certainly excellent for survivability, but because you're doing less for your team than you otherwise could be. And when you compare that to other supports, right? Like, let's compare Seris to Grover, okay? Seris, with this playstyle, sits in the back, you know, she heals, and that's basically all she does, and then she throws out an ult every now and then. Grover can also do a ton of healing, right? Seris and Grover are both very good at just pumping out raw healing. But Grover, that entire time, you know, sitting also decently safe in his backline, can spam out damage and just do a ton of damage throughout the entire match, right? One axe every second, you know, doing roughly 500 damage per second throughout the entire match. Let me stun you real quick and then throw out a heal. I need to shadow travel right now. Hey. Oh no, I'm probably dead. I'm probably dead. No! Okay. Yeah, Grover can be spamming out all this damage. He can be spamming out cripples, which is a form of crowd control that can be very helpful against mobile targets. And if he does take some stray bullets, he doesn't have to exit into this ethereal state where he just can't be targeted but gets no value for his team. He can just heal himself, and he can use the damage reduction card that gives him a ton of damage reduction, and he can use those to stay alive while still getting value for his team by constantly pumping out damage. And so, why would you pick this specific playstyle over Grover, when Grover has, you know, equally good survivability, arguably? Yeah, he can't go immortal, but he can Vine Tech across the map, and he has the best self-sustain in the game, bar none. So why would you pick this playstyle over Grover? Where Seris starts to become more competitive is when you know, go away from this playstyle and be like, oh, hey, I want to play Soul Collector, and I want to do a lot of damage for my team simultaneously, you know, shoot out a bunch of high damage orbs while healing my team. And with Soul Collector, I'm also going to get more healing, right? More self-sustain, I mean, because I'm tankier. More self-sustain, so I stay alive more, right? Why not, you know, play that playstyle instead? That's what I'm thinking. That's kind of what I was thinking ever since I saw this talent, and actually playing with it. I think that confirms what I was already thinking, because I feel like I would genuinely be way more effective when I'm not spamming shadow travel as much. And you can see as much by the fact that while I'm commentating over this gameplay, I've just kind of stopped going into shadow travel. I had to think about it there for a second, be like, oh yeah, I'm playing this talent. Let me just go into shadow travel again. Here you go, have some healing. I want to do some damage, though. Come here. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah. Nice Flammenwerfer. Okay, I should have gone into shadow travel that time. Don't worry about it. You know what? I got a kill. That was huge value, right? Yeah. But yeah, there is one genuine buff that Seris did get this patch. Well, two genuine buffs, really. The first genuine buff we knew about on the PTS, and that was that her range was getting a flat increase, right? So you don't need to run Mortal Reach to get the range buff anymore, meaning you can play Agony if you want, you know, big healing numbers, and you can not have to sacrifice your range in the process, which is one of the major draws of old Mortal Reach. Or, you know, play Okay, I'll actually play in Shadow Travel then. Fine, I'll play in Shadow Travel, jeez. Here's me preaching about being more effective while not in Shadow Travel, and then dying while not in Shadow Travel. But yeah, like, the range buff is, you know, super helpful. You can play Soul Collector or any talent now and, you know, be a beneficiary of that range. But also, after the PTS, you know, since Mortal Reach no longer has the increased tick rate, meaning you heal more slowly, people felt that her healing was just a tiny smidge too lackluster, and so they actually gave her a secondary buff, which is that you can see throughout this match, right? I'm healing for 165 per tick instead of 150 per tick. That's not because my teammates have Rejuvenate. As a matter of fact, Terminus has not bought Rejuvenate, which is disappointing to me. Yeah, it's because I'm literally just healing that much. Which is nice. You know, it's a nice buff to Seris to make her a bit more of a competitive heal bot. Because, yeah, especially since, you know, Ying and Io just got massive buffs this patch, you know, I feel like Seris, yeah, is okay to receive that little bump up to make sure she's still competitive with these massive heal bots that have just been added now. Ying truly is insane this patch, man. I mean, geez. I've been playing a decent bit of her. We played her in Sumos. I've made 2 videos back-to-back on Ying. She is, she's very powerful this patch. So yeah, that's, yeah, pretty cool buffs for Seris, right? And you don't necessarily need to play Mortal Reach now to be the main heal bot, I think is kind of the interesting thing about this update. Because there is no inherent need to pick this talent, right? Apart from, yeah, you want that extra survivability. Okay, play this type of build. I got you. Oh boy. Alright, I'm just gonna throw this out. I couldn't even throw that out, dude. Shaolin just solo bursted me. Eesh. And here I thought I would get at least some protection from the fact that I had literally 3 other teammates there with me. Bro just waited for me to leave Shadow Travel and just insta-bursted me. Yeah, this talent doesn't buff your healing in any way. It's literally just a self-sustained talent. Agony is kind of like the only healing talent now, right? You want, you know, maximum survivability, you play this talent. You want Agony, or you want maximum healing, you play Agony. You want kind of a hybrid of both, or maximum damage, you play... You get freaking fun by the enemy team. No, you play Soul Collector, and you get the extra damage there. But, I mean, Agony is kind of wonky. You could just play Soul Collector now with the increased healing buff and just do that instead. There's a lot of weird ways you can play Seris now, and I think we'll definitely have to see, you know, what Seris mains experiment with in the coming weeks and months with Seris now that her talent dynamic has just completely shifted like this. But you guys know opinion now. You guys know my opinion now. I think, you know, we'll probably just see like Soul Collector or something be more of a meta talent here, and that way you can get more than 9,000 damage in the match, you know? And you can provide a little bit more value to your team than what I was able to provide there. Looking at the stats here, we were pretty competitive with the Ying, both in terms of our healing and our damage, because Ying was also barely doing damage that match, because her damage champions were frickin' insane, man. Andrew got almost exactly 69,000 damage, and yeah, they were all much more aggressive than our team was. Kasumi actually took top kills on our team and top damage, which is very surprising, especially against a team comp where they had Shaolin, Strix, and Androxus, and, you know, they were all doing pretty well. That's very, very shocking to see. I think they've definitely done some good stuff with this Kasumi rework. I probably have to play that again. But, yeah, Evie also did, you know, decent, all things considered. You know, the fact that she was up against, you know, that type of team comp that just absolutely wrecks her, yeah, good for her. I think I definitely would have preferred to play Soul Collector there. I think that's my verdict, and... yeah, that's what I'm going to say, and I'm just going to leave it here. So let me know what you guys think about my opinions and about this new talent in the comment section down below. Am I wildly and dramatically off base? Am I crazy? Am I loopy? Or do I have a pretty accurate assessment of the situation? Let me know what you think in the comments, of course. And while you're down there, make sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another upload from me. Also, make sure to check out my Discord server and my Twitch channel, both of which are linked in the description down below. And if you want to support this channel, maybe buy some crystals for the new event pass, then make sure you do so at my Nexus, over at nexus.gg/AndrewChicken. There you can buy crystals and a whole bunch of other DLC for Paladins, like the Interstellar Stallion pack. Ooh. And you can support me in the process. I would very much appreciate that. But with that all being said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time. Peace out.